Notation is a system that represents what is orally perceived as music. Modern musical symbols are the marks and symbols that are widely used in musical scores of all styles. The system uses a 5-line staff. Pitch is shown by placement of notes on the staff, and duration is shown with different note values and additional symbols such as dots and ties. The beam, the slur, the trill, the tremolo, they all give a different articulation to the notes also. Notation is read from left to right. Let's see what this notation looks like.
The beam. When 2 or more 8th notes, 16th notes, 32nd notes, or 64th notes are in a group, they will be beamed together according to the counts in the measure. Here are some examples. The first measure is without beams. The second measure is with beams. Same exact rhythm and notes, but here they're all flags. 16th flags and 8th flags. And here it is beamed together. Much easier to read. Rather than these 4 16th notes here, I can see them grouped real well. So that's what the beam does. There's examples of what it would look like if it was just done with flags. But when you can beam groupings together, it makes it a lot easier to read rather than this kind of thing. The tie and the dotted note. Here is the use of the dot to make reading the notation easier for the performer. The first measure will use a tie, which sustains the note value for a longer time. The second measure will use the dot as a shortcut to the notation. The tie will connect 2 of the same note to lengthen the note value. Do not play the second note. The dot following a note will receive half of the value of the note it follows. Here are some examples. Dot receives an 8th value because it follows a quarter note. So half of a quarter note is an 8th note. This dot would receive a 32nd value. This dot would receive a 16th value. Now here with tied notes, here's a quarter note tied to an 8th note, and then the next 8th note is played. Since a dot receives half of a quarter note, which is an 8th note, you can eliminate this kind of tied notation. It's not wrong, just if you want to, you can do this instead. Dotted quarter, 8th. This is like a dotted quarter, 8th. Same thing here. Quarter notes tied to 8th notes. Dotted quarter, 8th, dotted quarter, 8th. You can see how confusing this could be because we're really in a different time signature. But here would be 3 8th notes, 3 8th notes, a dotted quarter, 8th, dotted quarter, 8th. This is much easier to read than this. The slur, the trill, and the tremolo. The slur means to connect the notes with no space between them and come off on the second note. You connect these 2 notes. They're different notes. It's not a tie, it's a slur. It just means that you keep the notes sustained. The trill means to play the note and the note above it at a very rapid rate. So here's A. You would be playing A, B, A, B, A, B very quickly. The tremolo means to play the note repeatedly at a very rapid rate. So here you've got F, and you play it at 30-second note values. And here you've got A, and you play it at 30-second note values.
Now you have learned some of the modern musical symbols and notation used in musical scores. They are the beams, the tie, the dotted note, the slur, the trill, and the tremolo. You will soon be playing music with these symbols and notations.